Okay, we are now officially on air.
Woo! We did it.
Woohoo!
I'm
Yep.
like,
Yeah,
let's see.
and I can see the chat. I'm gonna turn the volume down on my phone so that I don't hear like an echo or anything.
Oh, cool. Okay, and I see myself and us. Okay, this is interesting.
Yes. So, hello if there's anybody watching. My
Yes.
name is
Hi.
Leanna, and this is Emily from Emily Original.
Hello. I'm never on YouTube, but I'm working on it.
She's working on it, and I'm very excited. We're definitely going to be collabing at some point.
Which I'm excited for.
Hmm. So we were hoping to talk about some different things
Okay.
that we played with, like makeup wise, this past year and experienced like movies and books and everything. Hello, Mia. Sup? Mia
Hello.
from Mia's Virtual Vanity. And hello, Kalina. We tried to add her to the chat and failed miserably. We suck.
Yeah, we tried. There's Hangouts is weird.
Yes.
Just to sum it up for you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
turn up my lights actually. You can probably see me better. Sorry for this terrible noise.
Yeah, Mia told me she'd be here. She didn't lie.
Yeah.
So,
What time is it for you though, Mia?
I think she is 7 hours ahead of us.
Dedicated.
Remaining dedicated.
And I was like, you may or may not recognize me from your comment section, Mia. I watch your videos.
Yeah, she stalks all of my friends. I say to watch somebody, she'll probably go there and check them out. You're a good friend.
Oh, it's not you,
No,
Kalina. I really
it's
think
not.
it's the system.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, there's probably a delay between what we say and then here. Oh, hi, Sophia in New Zealand.
Oh, hello. I'm in Ohio, in the US.
And I am in Ontario in Canada. And this is very awkward. I have to keep this PS4 headset around my ear at all times because the microphone in my laptop is no good.
Oh, thank you, Mia. I just saw your comment. I'm half
We love
distracted.
you.
For those wondering, I'm playing around with the Strobe Divinity palette. I really like it.
I'm jealous. I want that palette.
Is
I'm
it
holding
shipping it to
this
Canada?
palette.
How's the shipping to Canada for Strobe?
I haven't checked, but this is the Igneous Cosmetics. Uh, this is the Cozy Cabin palette. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about because this was the year I discovered Igneous, and I love them.
I love those palettes. I've been eyeing that one. Is it the lake side?
Is that the one with the green and blue?
Yeah, I'm like I can't remember the exact name of it, but I've been eyeing that one too. Because
Yeah.
Pink Baby G.
Yeah, so she collaborated on the colors for both of them.
Which is
So
so,
this is the one.
and she's from Dayton, Ohio, which is
Yeah.
very close to me, and I'm just like Ohio friend.
Yeah, this is a considered the warm toned one. It has sort of the oranges and browns, and then it's got purples. Yes, you discovered them and spread them like the plague. I love Igneous so much.
But
That's what Mia says.
I that's what I was laughing at.
Yeah, that's become like my new goal in life to get as many people hooked on Igneous as possible. Igneous is based in Toronto, Ontario, so just a few hours away from me.
Which is so exciting. Oh, and
Yeah.
since you're Canadian, I have all of
Mhm.
my little Suva color fixes. I have a whole bunch of them right now.
Yeah, that's a brand I would like to try too.
They're
Haven't.
so good. I'm like, you may or may not have seen my story. I did.
Mhm.
They sent me a defective liner
Yes.
accidentally, and it like, and I'm really thinking, that stuff happens in shipping sometimes.
Hmm.
So, but they literally, I emailed them in like 15 minutes, or right after they emailed me to be like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I had like a shipping notification,
Hmm.
and then the next day I had the liner at my door. So
Yeah, that's amazing customer
10
service right
and
there.
I'm in Ohio. They ship out of Canada. So like
Yeah.
10 out of 10 customer service. And they use DHL for their international shipping, which is also tracked. So I really, really like their brand and I can't recommend them enough.
Yeah, I really want to try their like hydro liners or whatever they're called in the little pots like you have there. And because they come in so many different colors, and sometimes it can be hard to find colorful eyeliners, and the ones that you can find, they're usually liquid liners and they crack.
And these, what's nice, what I really like, because I do like the Inglot, their gel liners. I have a couple of
Mhm.
those. Their 7-7 black liner is fantastic. I like mixing it with their mixing medium, which is the Duraline. Um,
Yeah.
but I like that these are water activated cakes because they're not going to dry out like how
Yeah.
cream product will. So,
Yeah.
you just use water at will and they're going to last a lot longer that way. So, that's the other reason I've kind of been switching to more cake activated products just because the longevity factor.
Yeah. Yeah, so like with Igneous this year, I can't even tell you how many shadows I've bought from them. So like I have this palette and so I've almost filled up this entire palette here. These are not all igneous,
It's
but
so
these are all indie shadows. And the majority of them are Canadian eyeshadows, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, Mia likes the Sephora collection little pen liners.
I'll have to look those up.
So yeah, this year was like the year of me discovering Canadian indie cosmetics, which is cool. I like to support indie cosmetics, and if I can support like local cosmetics, that's even better. Sophia wants to know if you have trouble with the liners being water-based on your eyes with watering.
Yes, you won't be able to use them in your waterline because they are water based, so they'll just run. That is the only downside. Um, that I do have with them. For my waterline, I typically use a pen liner, and I've been really liking Linda Hallberg's pens, but those are kind of not super accessible. LA
Yeah.
Girls, for an accessible one, I really like LA Girls like Ultimate Eye Intense liners. You obviously can't see the writing, but yeah, they're called Ultimate Eye Intense Stay Auto Liners. Mouthful. But I really like them for my watery, allergic eyes. You disappeared, Leanna. Oh, there you are.
Oh,
You like, the
I'm here.
camera went off for a second. It was so funny. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I know Linda Hallberg is definitely more pricey if you're international. Probably, I've heard Angelica Nyqvist say that it's more mid-range if you're in Sweden, but
Mm-hmm.
outside there, it's harder.
Yeah, I watched a few of her videos on Linda, and it was, basically that's just like standard Swedish makeup pricing for her.
Yeah.
And like it makes sense too because she's a Swedish makeup artist. She's based in Sweden, and I don't actually. I have one of the palettes. I don't know if they say made in Sweden or they're made in Italy. So they're still made in the EU, but I'm sure like they ship out of Sweden and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it makes sense to me that the pricing is a little higher because it's a Swedish product.
Hmm. So, one of the other Canadian brands I tried this year was M Cosmetics. And one of the products I got here, I actually pushed it into this Tarte, uh, this Tarte blush. Because the pan was the same size as the sample size blush, I just glued it in. And this is one of their highlighters. And it's the palest one they have. I forget what it's called, but it's a white with the very slightest bit of pink, and it's super pretty. You probably won't be able to tell because this webcam is horrible, but yeah, it's a really frosty highlighter. So M Cosmetics is another like local brand. And yeah, like this webcam sucks, but you can just barely see how it's glowing there on my hand. And their lipsticks are super pretty too. They have this like sparkly pink packaging. And they have duochrome lipsticks, which is really fun.
Ooh. And their M Cosmetics, are they spelled like EM?
EM Cosmetics is the one by Michelle Phan.
Okay. I see. I'm
It's
like,
confusing.
when you were like M Cosmetics, I'm like, oh yeah, I got some of their stuff. But then I was like, right, there's Canadian M Cosmetics, that's EMME.
Yes. Yeah, it would probably be easier to call them like Emmy Cosmetics just to make the distinction, but it's M Cosmetics. I'm pretty sure her name is M.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And my friend Shanice in Toronto, she actually helped them out with swatches for deeper skin tones for a while.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have somebody doing that. I don't think they still do that, but it was probably more of like a money thing because they were also offering coupon codes for a while and they couldn't afford to keep doing that.
Right. As a small brand, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
that's nice that they actually got someone, though, like Shanice, to at least do some swatches for them
Yeah.
because, they're at least making that effort.
Yeah. Sparkly pink packaging, say no more. I'm on my way. Yeah.
Oh, Mia.
No, they're beautiful lipsticks.
Pat McGrath's.
Oh gosh,
Like,
yeah, her packaging is amazing.
I'm like, here, I'll have to hold it up. It's this sparkly tube. It's so pretty. I'm like, make noise. Let's see if it'll. There it is. It's
Yeah,
such a pretty tube. I don't know if it
yeah.
really showed it full screen, but
I know, like I can't, it's not just her lipsticks, it's the aesthetic across her brand is so luxe. I, I would have to spend like 1 month of my disability paycheck on it, but
she's you've seen my Instagram. I have a soft spot for Pat McGrath. She's
yeah.
my favorite makeup artist and like someone who inspires me greatly. And she's also one of the only she actually may be the only black owned luxury brand.
Yeah, I think so. And Kalina says yay representation, so yeah, like it is great when brands have swatches on other skin tones and hire people to do that, like not Photoshop your
Yes,
swatches.
that's that's why I'm like Stila. That's why ironically it was from their Little White Lies collection.
Yeah,
And they did the Photoshop swatching.
yeah. Like Mia says, it's a bit sad that indies make the effort to be inclusive with swatches and some big ass brands with huge marketing budgets Photoshop the model darker. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's stupid too, especially if it's a brand like Becca. I've seen Becca Photoshop swatches, and it's like
With their
you have so many darker models that you use in your marketing campaigns, and you have a highlighter collection that goes deeper and deeper all the time, but you Photoshop your models darker.
yeah,
That makes no sense.
it really doesn't. And even like Stephanie Nicole like works with, Ripley, which I'm not sure if anyone follows her on Instagram, but she's
Mm.
hilarious. And she actually just started a makeup brush line with Makeup by Alo, who
Okay.
is Mexican
Okay.
and I believe she's a freelance makeup artist. But they just started their brush line. I can't remember what their name is off the top of my head. But like my point is, even with Stephanie Nicole, she, sends makeup to Ripley so she can have dark skin
Yeah,
swatches for her channel. And she can't do that every single time because it won't get to Ripley in time or whatever.
right.
Maybe Ripley doesn't have the time to swatch for her. But like she still makes that effort for like the darker end of the spectrum for her viewers, which I think more people should do if they have that ability. Like, say, someone like Jen Loves Reviews, who has almost 200,000 people watching and can like hire editors and like
Hmm.
reporters for her makeup show and that. Like, why not also like find someone in your area that you can show dark skin swatches
Yeah.
on when she does her in-depth or unbiased reviews or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. ColourPop does it with lipstick colors, but skin color, yeah, that's problematic. And
Yeah.
Kalina says they probably just don't want to pay because people know they have the money to.
Yeah, that's so true. And yeah, I a lot of companies do Photoshop like the different colors, like lipstick for say. But yeah, Photoshop and skin.
Yeah, you can tell so much with the lip swatches because it just looks like it's the same color.
Like it's like the
And
uniform
on the mouth,
thing,
it's just been photoshopped a different color repeatedly, repeatedly. They're perfect swatches. It's
right?
ridiculous. And it's like nobody's lips look that perfect anyway when you're doing a lip swatch, but yeah, it's so stupid. And you need to know what a color is going to look like on your skin tone. And especially when you're doing like an eyeshadow swatch, if it's computer generated, you're not seeing what the pigmentation looks like there. It's so falsified.
Right. Like this gives me zero information on how to actually purchase one way or another. Like
Yeah, like you're just taking the swatches and laying them over this skin tone, this skin tone, this skin tone, and it's just a perfectly laid out swatch every time. You're not seeing, oh, is it going to be sheerer on this person than on this person? Is it going to look ashier on this person than on this person? They just look perfectly pigmented every time.
it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And
I
especially,
don't
I'm sure it's more annoying too if you're not like the standard skin tone that
know.
they always show a real swatch on like social media
Yeah.
or whatever.
Because like you and me, we can always get a general idea of what things are going to look like on us.
Yeah. Or I can even like, I don't know, I can always find someone who does like pale skin reviews and
Yeah.
like watch their stuff for 2 seconds to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kalina says it's so bad. I think that's actually how I got into watching makeup on YouTube. You know,
Yeah.
because you want to look for somebody doing a review on a certain product, and it's helpful if they have your skin tone. And there are so many channels these days that generally you can find that, but you may have a little bit of trouble if if you're not, like stark white. So,
Yeah. That's like brands still have a lot of work to do when it comes to terms with like not just tokenizing people as opposed to actually having people represented. I feel like kind of like Ace Face Beauty just did a get ready with me on why she does not really like her. It's her problem with Charlotte Tilbury, and which I'm sure you've seen like her shade ranges. Maybe I don't know if you've ever looked into her brand,
yeah.
um, but like her film store Bronze and Glow, like that's her two compact. It's like a highlighter and a bronzer or contour shade, whatever. But that's like her super popular product. That was like the one thing I always heard about when I didn't know who Charlotte Tilbury was. It was like that and her foundation.
Yeah.
But at a $68 USD price point, her Bronze and Glow powder only has two variations. It only has two shades. So
Yeah.
you have like a light and a deep, which really looks like it could bronze like just like the lighter end of the tan spectrum. And it's sad.
Or like Wet and Wild just came out with like 6 different bronzer shades and they all look like they're made for white people.
Right. And it's just, and like Ace Face Beauty, Stacy, she was like, my problem is Charlotte uses like darker skinned black people in her advertising, but she doesn't have makeup for them in her stores and in her counters.
Mia says Charlotte Tilbury is a weird lady anyway. I'm not even surprised at her shade rage. Did you hear she never let her husband see her without makeup? She sleeps with it on.
No, I did not know that, Mia.
No, I didn't know that. But I just find it very bizarre when it's a makeup artist shade or makeup artist brand and the shades are so limited because they would have to be working on people of color and people with deeper skin tones, black women, and there's nothing there for them in the brand.
Hmm.
Like Beauty Blender is owned by a Latinx individual, and the line of foundations were made for Latinx people. Then why was the original launch this small?
Right. Why was the range of shades and tones like this big?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like, and then like Monica Style Muse, she brought like a bunch of her family and Latinx
yeah,
friends out, and did the video like, we're Latinx too. Where are we in this shade range? Like, and and that's something Monica talks about actually a lot on her channel is like that she is too dark to be Dominican, um, and just kind of the racism that can happen and the colorism that can happen within the Latinx community. So that video is really good, and her channel in general, she has good content. Monica Style Muse.
yeah, yeah. I watch her. No, it was a really good video. I agree. Yeah, and not even get started with Chanel and all of those luxury brands. They have 3 shades of light tan and just ignore people of color. The super high-end luxury brands for sure, they are like that.
I'm like, I think Lancome is the only one that I can
Yeah.
like, and I don't know if they're like considered luxury.
I feel like they were probably like getting there, but I feel like more like the Chanel, the Dior, the Tom Ford, Sicily, like
Yeah,
those ones.
Poe, Chantecaille, whatever.
Yeah. Basically the things that like Tati really loves.
I know. I like when I watch Michelle Wong's channel and live vicariously through her luxury collection.
Yeah, no, like the really, really luxury ones. Like I don't know if you watch Too Much Mouth, but she did one of her foundation hunt series recently, and the worst foundations were the Dior ones. They were so orange. There were about 14 shades, and the darkest ones were just pure orange.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So you're gonna charge like I don't even know how much for a foundation. You barely have any shades, and your darkest ones were made for Donald Trump.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Kalina said, trouble finding a bronzer. I, yeah, I'm trying to find a new bronzer right now that has like an inclusive range, and it's like MAC, and that's it.
Makeup and Travel does a bronzer series actually
I'll
for
have to go
deeper
look at that.
tones, and so she's like instead of doing a foundation hunt, she's doing a bronzer hunt series.
Sophia, that sucks. In New Zealand and Australia, they don't like to sell
Yeah.
the dark shades. I was talking with someone, Unitard Whitehead on Instagram.
Mhm.
I was messaging with them, and we were talking about how even though, or they were there 5 years ago, and they in China they had been
Yeah.
counter in about 5 years, but they typically don't carry the dark shades at the counters there either, even though dark skinned people exist in China and want those shades.
Yeah, no, there have been a lot of discussions about the fact that, there are a lot of beauty brands in Korea and China, East Asia that have maybe 3 to 5 shades in their BB creams, but they don't accommodate darker skin Asian complexions, and these people are having to order online, and there's just generally a lot of colorism in the communities there. And skin bleaching, and well, Jackie Aina talked about skin bleaching more in terms of African American communities, but skin bleaching is really huge in Korea,
Hmm.
um, because Eurocentric beauty standards are still promoted as being up here and really, really uh, the top tier, like, and why, like well, it's obviously racism, but colonization.
Hmm.
And yeah, there's just obviously it has to be a very nuanced conversation, but the more people start talking about it, the more that we can maybe bring these issues to light and people will feel more comfortable talking about it.
So I was just reading the chat a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mia, I know. Finding a unicorn.
Yeah, and Sophia says, I asked a few different ones, and most brands consider the Asia Pacific region as only wanting light and tan shades. So don't carry super pale or dark at all because there's no demand. But that's not true. There's a high demand for more shades, and they're just not happening there.
Then I'm like, South Asian people exist?
Yes. Yeah, and well, that's the other thing too, is like Asians are not just one group.
Right. Asia's massive because what we I don't know, at least in America, we have the crappy term of calling it the Middle East, but it's
Yes.
really West Asia, and like lots of people there have deeper skin and it's just, people in Southern Asia have a lot of people have dark skin there. Just all over. It's yeah, to lump Asian skin tones all into one, I don't like to do that.
No. There was something, it was like some sort of graph of the different beauty brands and how they catered to different skin tones, but also the availability of them based on region. And a lot of these companies weren't selling their darker shades in uh, Southeast Asia and South Asia, where there are people with tan skin tones and who would have need of the darker shades.
So bananas to me.
Yeah, it's it just makes you just side eye the whole beauty industry. And yet, when you bring up anything like this in conversation online and talk about how lighter shades are just easier to find in general, people are like, that's not a thing. Mm, I think it is.
Yeah, Sophia, I don't know if you're familiar with Black Milk Clothing, um, being in Australia, but they're based out of Brisbane, and I used to be super into their brand. Um, and they pretty much only like advertised like thin white people, and it was sad. So I started buying from them, but like through that like little community, I made so many Australian friends and learned like how diverse Australia is. And of course, there's also indigenous Australian
Indigenous, yeah.
people who are dark skinned.
Yeah. And in New Zealand, yeah.
And like she said, it's the only reason must be racism, and that's really it. Is systemic racism.
Yeah. And it's kind of I don't know if you've heard of this movie that came out recently called Bird Box. This guy, I think his name is Michael Harriot. He came up with the theory that white people can't see racism, and that's what the movie was about. I just kind of like, but
Oh,
that's kind of true though. Like not just within the context of the movie, but in real life. Uh, there's so many times where it's like the reason why this is happening is racism, but white people just don't want to talk about it.
right. There's
Very fragile.
so much. Anytime it's like because nobody wants to believe they're racist, but newsflash, all white people are racist in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, we are.
And it's like, and as a lot of like black scholars and activists say, it's not enough to be like not racist. You need to be anti-racist.
Anti.
Like you need to be actively working against that because it's very easy to just be racist when you're not challenging yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Asia Pacific beauty culture is so toxic. Colorism all around, especially in the South. Lots of fair and lovely ads. Then in Korea and Japan, mandatory plastic surgery and makeup to be considered for jobs, says Mia. Yeah. Yeah, and that goes back to like the white Eurocentric beauty standards that I mentioned. Lots of like the double eyelid surgery that some people feel like they need to have. Um, it's that sort of thing. Even if you just look at mainstream beauty, like the type you would watch on YouTube, people contouring and things like that, it's it's really just a fit a white beauty standard.
Yeah, and like I was watching Jackie Ina a while ago and she was just like, we're not
Hmm.
contouring anymore. She's like, I'm not contouring my nose anymore. And she actually what she does, I think what she will do is like I think she calls it non-touring. I don't remember exactly, but like what she'll instead is do like a modified version for people with black noses.
Hmm.
So, and I'm like, which is really cool because like how like you said, how often do you see people just carving their noses into nothing, which is a Eurocentric standard?
Yeah. This is A and J, A plus J did a big doco on Fair and Lovely. It was horrifying. It was really upsetting. Yeah, I actually don't really know anything about Fair and Lovely. Is that is that a company of some sort, or I actually don't know.
I'm like, I think they're a skin bleaching
Skin
brand.
bleaching.
If
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, that
not
makes sense by the name. Yeah.
um because I've heard about them in passing. Lavette Jallo, she has a really good video. Um,
Yeah.
it recently where she was did like kind of like a panel discussion um, with other Black women in the community just about skin bleaching. And there's actually I think it's Dr. Uju is her name, and she actually said that skin bleaching products will contain like corticosteroids because
Oh, God.
the bleach and like the like products that bleach your skin will irritate the skin so much that in order to disguise that effect they put corticosteroids in the products. How messed up is that?
Wow. Yeah, that's messed up. Very messed up.
Like it's skin bleaching and skin bleaching brands are so insidious. I like
Well,
so
I know
they make billions, which is awful.
like Jackie I know was talking about Black China
Hmm.
uh starting one or being the face of one, something like that.
Yeah, I think she did like an Instagram post
Yeah.
featuring, and I think she was going in Nigeria to do like to promote it,
Hmm.
which is so dangerous.
Yeah.
And actually, Lavette Jallo, if you look back on her channel too, she actually has her own skin bleaching story. If you
Yeah. I
want, like first perspective who has actually gone through skin bleaching
I
and
do
since stopped.
remember watching that. Yeah.
Because obviously we can't speak to the harms of skin bleaching at all, just from what I've read. But you
No,
like some.
quite the opposite. It would be more likely that white people would take tanning too far.
Mhm. Yeah, but if you do want some more like background on skin bleaching, Jackie Aina has some videos,
Yeah.
and Lovette Jalo has some good ones too. And I'm sure there are tons out there as well if you just search on
Yeah.
YouTube. But of course,
There was somebody else I was watching the other day, and now I can't remember who it was. And she was talking about like blackfishing and different conversations like that. Yeah. Um, but anyway, you are still getting ready there. Do you want me to continue on with the list of things I was going to talk about?
you're good. I'm just slowly putting shadow on my face. There's nothing exciting happening here.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so what was it? Fair and Lovely is a skin bleaching brand. They make billions. And yeah, Black China did a collab with Skin Bleach Company. So one of the other things I bought this year was my first Juvia's Place palette. It was the Deuce palette, which I've really been enjoying. I've actually made like a pretty huge dent in this creme shade up here, which is like a pastel sort of salmon shade. And yeah, it's a really beautiful palette. I really want their Tribe palette now because it has all those pretty greens in it. I don't know if you've tried Juvia's Place or not.
I have not tried Juvia's Place yet. I was going to, but then Tiff Jeff 69 or 069 on YouTube, Tiffany, I love
Yep.
her. She's great. Her Hauled
Yeah.
It, How Was It? Those are fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
she posted a video a while ago, like just sharing some of her issues with Juvia's Place, but she since did an update video, so I want
Right.
that.
I ordered through Beauty Bay because it was just easier to get free shipping, and I avoided customs fees that way as well. So I did it that way. But I feel like some people did have customer service issues in the very beginning with Juvia's Place, and they've since remedied that. So that's good.
Yeah, I don't like hear a bunch of issues nowadays, especially since they've come like into Ulta in the US. But that's nice to know that Beauty Bay does stock them as well for
Mhm.
international consumers.
Yeah, that's one thing about Canada that really, really sucks is that we have like zero black-owned businesses, makeup businesses here. I think the only one we still have is Iman Cosmetics, and that's like only here and there. So
Hmm.
it would be nice to get more of those brands here. We used to have Target and then Target left. So if we still had Target, we'd probably have, like Colored Rain
Yeah.
and a bunch of these other brands that have been moving into Target. We'd probably get those, but we don't.
Well, I wish Target was still in Canada because that would be really nice for consumers.
Mia ordered from Juvia's Place a month ago and she's still waiting for it to arrive. Damn international shipping.
So
Yeah.
mean. And especially if it's untracked and you're just like,
Where is it? I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
where it is. Yeah, well, I hope it gets there soon.
Yes. And the Tribe palette, Kalina, that's the new green one, right? The new that has it's like greenish blue and it has some like those pretty like terracotta shades in it.
Yeah.
Pink is the new one. Yeah, I was like, I have some black owned brands.
Yeah, I want to try Colored Rain singles. 'Cause I
Oh yeah.
feel like the Queen of Hearts palette is similar to the Modern Renaissance, which I already own. So I don't really think I could justify buying that, but some of their singles look so beautiful.
Yeah, I have the Queen of Hearts and I have the Cheers to Beauty. If you haven't checked this out, I really like honestly, I love this thing. It's a honkin' palette. It's massive.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Just because on it, like there's that highlighter on the end here that makes
Yeah.
it just makes it extra long because it is a pretty big palette anyway. But I was like, this color story, no, I don't like this. It's a no from me. I like was looking on Temptalia and she showed it like the palette like cut in half because
Yeah.
you like cover up this half. I'm like, oh, okay, I like that. And then if you cover up like that half, and I'm like, oh, okay, I like that six pan. So I'm like, it like the layout just messed with me. So sometimes I'll like cover up half the palette so it I can get a look and it doesn't throw me off. But even though the color story is kind of weird, I like the quality is fantastic.
Oh,
These the Diamond Jubilee, the Opulence, and the Black Butterfly shades have like a similar effect to Pat McGrath's like sparkly shades. They don't feel the same, but they're like that same kind of glittery finish. One of them has the ingredient that makes her shade so sparkly.
okay.
Yeah, it's synthetic flora pogoflite.
Yeah, Florophagia. I don't even know
It's
how you say
it's
that. Yeah.
flogopite. Flora flogopite. I'm like I have to practice saying it and get into the role. It's like a tongue teaser.
It's
But it
a
has
it's a weird word, yeah.
some of the shades in here have that ingredient, which makes that a little more sparkly. But yeah, their singles are fantastic too. This might be loud. Sorry.
Hi, I don't know if your name is pronounced Eel or Isle Beauty, but hello.
Yes. Hi. And I was like, this is my massive colored rain palette.
Oh wow.
This is the 90 pan magnetic palette they have. I don't know if I'm showing up on camera, but these are the colored rain singles I have up here at the top. Those are
Hmm.
Sydney Grace and then some various ones down there. But their singles are absolutely fantastic. I love their greens, their shimmers. I do love the vivid pigments they came out with.
Yeah.
I have signals. I bought four singles before they like made the palette.
Right.
Before they made it a palette and decided not to bring back the singles, which I'm a little sad about. But I'm still want to buy the palette.
Yeah. I know I've heard some mixed things. Like I watched Melissa Gold's review and she had some trouble with them, but yeah. That's a huge damn magnetic palette. Could really be mounted on a wall and used as decoration.
It
It's
is.
very
It's massive. Like I love this thing though. I will take it traveling because I can throw like face products in
yeah.
here too. Because I did have some of the bigger pans were face products, and just take it with me instead of taking a whole bunch of like little palettes.
Hmm. Yeah, one of my other favorite purchases this year was actually just an Urban Decay lipstick. This is like the really bright purple one that I wear sometimes in videos. It's called Pandemonium. You know how much I love purple, so I love it. And I actually bought like a hard candy palette that I quite like, which is the Rose Gold palette. I think it's supposed to be a dupe for a Huda Beauty palette. Pretty good.
I was like, I haven't tried any hard candy shadows, I don't think. I'm always not gonna lie, a little bit of a snob when it comes to drugstore shadow.
Well, yeah, me too, but like it's pretty good.
I was
Yeah.
like, I have to, because I think they have hard candy in Walmart here.
I think it's exclusively at Walmart, yeah. And that was like $12 for a big palette like that. And
Nice.
it's I had a hard candy gift set for Christmas from my mom, and like some of it is better than others, but in general, I feel like they're good quality for a drugstore. Yeah.
That is good to know because
Yes,
I'm
that
like,
was sorry. Answering your question, it is a Vice lipstick, this one. Yeah. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I don't even know. Oh, I like Milani shadows. Those are my favorite drugstore shadows. I just wish they made more colors.
Yeah, the ones I've seen just didn't really appeal to me, so I haven't tried them. And Milani's a surprisingly expensive brand in Canada.
I mean, honestly, they are like a little higher up in the drugstore here anyway, so that makes sense that it's a little
Yeah,
more expensive in Canada.
yeah. Eel Isle Beauty wants to know what we think of Makeup Revolution. I haven't had a chance to try too much. They aren't stocked here where I live in Canada. So I've only had the chance really to try their Conceal and Define concealer, which my friend sent me from the US. And I like that. But yeah, I haven't had the chance to really try them.
I'm trying to think about, I think I've tried one of their eyeshadow palettes and I did like it. But I just didn't reach for it enough, so I decluttered it to my little sister who's newer to makeup and she really likes it and uses it. And then I also have like a little brow palette from them that I
Hmm.
like and just kind of keep around if I need brow powders or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I haven't tried too much from them. Sometimes I like feel mixed about like their exact dupe things, but
Right.
if but at the same time, like if you can't afford to like buy like Pat McGrath or whatever, like I'm not
Yes.
mad at you because you went on Shop Hush and got one of their dupe palettes so you could have like that same color story. Like I think that's silly, but like for me personally, I don't buy their dupe stuff at least.
Yeah, like I understand where you're coming from. Like I appreciate the fact that a brand is making something accessible to people who can't afford the high-end version, but I also feel like it's kind of sleazy to do an exact duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a gray area for sure. But on the other hand, I don't feel at all bad for Kat Von D that they've been duping some of her stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for Miss Kat Von anti-Semitic disease at all.
Yeah. But it's kind of like Shop Hush and then like they do the same thing. They're starting to come out with a few more original products now, but it's kind of the same thing because they've been like duping Natasha Denona and other high-end brands. But again, it's like Natasha Denona, some of her palettes are like $300 here. I'm never going to be able to afford that. So, yeah.
Did you say $300?
Some of them, like the really big ones, yeah.
Woohoo! Okay, I always forget how much. Like I can't even. I buy I buy the full size Pat McGrath palettes. I have four of them. I'm confessing right now, right
No,
here.
I know you do.
So maybe I'm a hypocrite, but I'm just like, oh, I don't know, man. I can't. I wait for sales for Pat too, so I'm like, I don't know, Miss Denona. And then her, I hear so many mixed things about her formulas too. So I'm like, I wouldn't want to drop that much money on a palette that I wasn't like super, super sure on.
Yeah, I don't think they even have them at my local Sephora, so like even if I had the money for it, I wouldn't be able to swatch it ahead of time. I would be going in blind
Right.
and like not good. Um, yeah, Kalina says, as an artist, I can't get behind the exact dupes, even though as a disabled person, out of work money is a struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same
exactly,
way.
Kalina.
Yeah, because like I have my jewelry, right? And I wouldn't want somebody making an exact replica of an original design of mine and like not even asking if they could do that. It's uncomfy, especially because when I was selling on Etsy, I actually had a customer come to me for a custom design, and that's what they wanted me to do, was just copy a design from somebody else's shop. And I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. Um, that doesn't feel right. So I put my own twist on it and said, well, here's something similar, but it's something that I made, and that's not what they wanted. So yeah, it's kind of like, but I'm not going to just replicate another shop's work.
Right. Yeah, that does feel kind of weird, especially like another small business too.
Yeah.
Like that does make me yeah, intellectual theft is yikes. Agreed. So
Mm,
um
yeah. Because I mean, I can't copyright any of my designs. Chances are there are things floating around out there that do look the same or very similar that I don't know about. But yeah, I would feel pretty shitty if somebody bought one of my items and then like turned around and sold it for a higher price.
mhm. And Sophia, yeah, I don't think Kat anticipated the backlash either, but I'm glad it's brought up, like, because a lot of people didn't know about her anti Semitic stuff. So when
Yeah.
all of the vaccine shit hit the fan, that started to come out too and be more mainstream. Because that's why I stopped buying from her like 2 years ago. And
That's fair.
I had a Sephora employee look at me like I had four heads when I was like, I asked them to like match me to a new foundation, and they tried to take me over to Kat Von D, and I was like, I don't buy from her, and like they gave me like the weirdest look, but it was, and now everybody understands why I was not
Yeah.
so keen on her.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about any of this stuff until people started making it widely known, like after she announced she wasn't vaccinating her kid, and it's like, also, she's anti-Semitic, and then everybody's like,
Right.
oh,
Flocking away from the brand.
I got whoa. Sophia says I got my novel character name stolen by Cassandra Clare when I was 17, and being against theft is the hill I'll die on. Is she the one who did like the
Throne of,
Mortal Instruments?
or yeah, what is,
Wow,
yeah, like Sophia, I want to hear more about this because what?
that sucks.
That does fucking suck. Sorry, do you want me not cursing because I can censor?
Uh, I don't fucking care.
I can
I
do.
can't. They can't demonetize me. I'm not monetized.
Ooh, what are you gonna do, YouTube?
Yeah, Cassandra Clare was a fan fiction writer first. So yeah, there you go. A
uh,
lot of the really popular young adult writers were fan fiction writers first. And so it does not at all surprise me that some of them would have stolen ideas.
wow, I didn't know that about Cassandra Clare. That really sucks.
Yeah, I know if you go to the Amazon reviews of the first Moral Instruments books,
Mm-hmm.
there's an amazing review detailing all the ways in which she stole ideas from other properties, including things like Star Wars, Harry Potter, like all of these really popular things that she just stole themes, character storylines. Just, yeah, that really bothers me. And it's like, no wonder I didn't like it. It's so derivative.
Oh yeah, I did know that 50 Shades was fanfic before it was published. I knew that one. I hate
Yeah.
that. I tried to read it like when the whole craze was happening, and it's insanely problematic, and that's not how BDSM is at all, or a healthy
Yeah.
relationship should be. But I couldn't even make it like past the first chapter.
Mia says she spends too much time on the internet. That's why her hair is so big. It's full of internet lore. I like that. You're doing all the hard work for us, Mia. Yeah, no, I used to write and read a lot of fan fiction. So
I
that's
was
like my old
fan
community.
fiction.
Yeah, like you start off as a little kid like watching cartoons and like I was an anime lover, I still am. So I would like watch Digimon and Sailor Moon and then I would read my own or I would write my own fan fiction and then read others' fan fiction. Yeah. There's still an incomplete Harry Potter fan fiction somewhere from when I was like 13.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good writer. I'm like I can't even speaking, my sentence structure is terrible. Writing it's even worse. I'm like my English teachers were always just like,
Don't be ashamed of writing fanfic. Never. There are a lot of really great fan fiction writers out there.
absolutely. No, don't be ashamed of writing fanfic. I still read fanfic. There
Me too.
like there's like an original story. I don't think it's even fanfic on Wattpad that someone was just writing, and I'm like, I still think back to that thing to this day, and I'm like, I want to reread that. So like, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, I used to write short stories for so long and I was planning to self-publish a book and then I don't know, my health got so bad and I just got so distracted and it was hard to write and I haven't returned to it. But I write like science fiction and fantasy stories and stuff like that. Not so much fan fiction anymore, but
That sounds so fun though. That's cool. Like I'm,
yeah, I just wish I could get back to it. I have so many ideas, it's just hard to write them.
yeah, I translating words onto a page is not a talent I possess.
Mm. I feel like everybody does have the capacity to write something, even if it's very small. But
That's true.
yeah, like even my brother, he doesn't write stories, but he's great at writing greeting cards for people.
Oh, that's
He'll write the most amazing messages on the inside.
Mia. It made me giggle when you said that you need better words to express your love for Ronald Weasley. That was maybe me as a child. Although my I wasn't my grandma and like parents, they're weird, like kind of southernish people who are conservative, and they didn't like want me getting into nerdy things. Like I wanted to go with her and my brother to go see Lord of the Rings, like when the movies were coming out when we were little, and she was just like, "No, it's for boys, or you wouldn't like it. It's for boys or whatever." And I was just like, "No, it's not." So I'm nerdy to this day, Grandma, and I cosplay Loki. So suck
That's awesome.
it. But I'm like, yeah. So like, I wasn't. Yeah, it took me like I got into nerdy culture later in my life, but I always wanted to be
Yeah.
a part of it.
Doesn't matter when you get into it, as long as you
You are a
enjoy it.
Hobbit in Lord of the Rings. That makes me so happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would fucking love to do SFX makeup on like Lord of the Rings, any kind of like like epic fantasy movie or like chronicle show like that. I would
Yeah.
die to be on the makeup team.
I know Stephen Colbert was in one of the Hobbit movies. He loves that so much, and then they finally like just let him have his little cameo. So cute.
Sorry if my lights just flashed. My power cycled and went off and then
No,
for a sec.
that's fine. Do you want to talk about movies and stuff now?
Oh, we totally can. I'm
Okay. I'm like very disorganized here now because some of these movies I saw a while ago, and if I don't take notes like right then and there, I'm gonna forget, part of the movie and stuff, but we can still talk about them. very briefly. So one of the movies I saw earlier this year was actually Annihilation.
Mm.
I don't know if you've heard anything about that or not.
I haven't heard anything about it. Go on.
Okay. So it was a sci-fi movie, written, directed by Alex Garland, and he did Ex Machina a couple of years ago, and I really loved that
We may have
too.
a troll in the chat, just so you know.
Oh, do we?
I,
Young Money? Oh, okay.
I will take your young money. Thank you. If you're offering it.
uh, anyway, yeah, so Alex Garland, like he used to like solely write sci-fi movies, and then now he's gotten into directing.
Oh, that's cool.
And so this is based on a book, but I haven't read the book yet. And as I understand it, they did whitewash at least one of the female characters in the movie.
Mm.
So that is one thing that uh, definitely should have been worked on prior to the script and the casting. But I did really like the visual aesthetic of the movie and the storytelling because it has a lot to do with like there's this really weird like shimmer. They call it the shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like this giant bubble that separates the outside world and then the inside world, and everything on the inside world starts kind of slowly rotting, including the people who go in there. The stuff starts happening to their bodies in weird ways. The animals that are in there, they start morphing in weird ways, and it's basically just talking about how Earth's ecosystem and the impact humans have on it. It's not so much talking about alien life, although it does do that in the film, sort of like a metaphor, and just talking about environmental and biological chaos that we as humans breed. It was just really interesting. They whitewashed the main character. She was Asian. Natalie Portman is Natalie Portman, yes. Otherwise, the characters were accurate and they changed a lot plot wise. Yeah, so I think it's actually a trilogy of books, and this was the first one. So I don't know if they're actually planning on doing any more movies or not. I'm not going to spoil anything plot wise terribly on any of the synopses for books, movies, whatever. So you should be okay.
Yes, I don't. I don't think I have any spoilers. Yeah, because I'm honestly like I'm trying to think of movies I've watched. My boyfriend and I rewatched Van Wilder.
I've never seen that.
Oh, I'm like baby faced Ryan Reynolds. Although he doesn't really look like he's aged that much. But thank you, Canada.
He was on
He's a treasure.
he was on one of my favorite shows as a kid. It never would have made it outside of Canada. It was a very small show.
Do you
It was
watch
called
Heartland ever in Canada? Is it a show that appears?
it's a show that appears. I've never watched it because I
Okay,
have no interest in
I'm
it.
a massive horse girl, so I grew up reading the Heartland books and
Okay.
still maybe have all of the box DVDs for the Heartland TV series.
My mom's just leaving. She's giving me a thumbs up. She
Yeah.
popped into the chat very briefly and then
Oh,
left.
that's funny.
Do you watch horror movies at all?
I don't usually anymore because I'm such a baby now.
Oh, my cousin is the same way. I was like asking her at our family Christmas gathering the other day. I was like, "Have you seen this?" She was looking for recommendations on Netflix. I'm like, "Have you seen this or this?" And she's like, "No, I'm a wuss."
I'm like, I'll totally watch them, but I have to do it like people and lights on. I just
Yeah,
get like, paranoid.
I was just thinking of the movie Hereditary.
I read the like wiki for that. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, no, it's very like psychologically disturbing. Like there's definitely some imagery in there that's visually disturbing, but it's a psychological film because for the most part you're watching it and you're wondering, are all these people just do they just have genetic mental illness,
Mm,
hence the hereditary,
right.
or is it something else, something more sinister? And so a lot of the time during the movie, you aren't sure, and it's probably one of the scarier movies I've seen in a long time because of that, because it
Yeah.
just kind of keeps you guessing.
Like reading the wiki for it, I was like, I have bad images. I was like, yeah, I don't know if Hereditary is one I'll be able to stomach. I'm like, I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to skip that one.
Yeah, I was talking to Susan from Ready Jet Glow, and
Yeah.
she said it was so tense she almost had to leave the theater. And I'm like, I didn't see it in theaters, but I can definitely understand that.
That's so, yeah, I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, because well, horror movies are always so much more intense when you're in a theater than just watching it at home.
Definitely.
It's the atmosphere of being like in a group for one thing, but it's so much louder. The music's so much more palpable, and everything's just yeah, it's harder to watch, I think, in a theater. And let's see here.
Yeah, I was just kind of reading the chat.
I watched Black Klansman recently.
Ooh, I haven't seen it, but that's on my list.
Yeah. So it I was actually surprised the first part of the film has quite a bit of comedy in it, um, which I wasn't expecting. But it's also like just incredibly cringy and uncomfortable for the reasons you would think because it's about the KKK and obviously there's a lot of racial slurs and stuff. There's a lot of really good dialogue though in the movie because uh so the main character's name is like Ron Stallworth, and then there's a secondary character named Flip Zimmerman, and Flip is Jewish, and he asks Ron, or Ron asks him how he's not more upset about everything that's been happening with the KKK, and like it's just a really important conversation to be having because of like Jewish and Black tensions over history,
Hmm.
and also because anti-Semitism often gets left out of the conversation, even in like activist spaces online. Uh, so it was. Oh, I had some notes here. Uh, it was basically recognizing that Jewish people, even white passing Jewish people, are just that, like white passing. And it was said in the film that Flip, who's played by Adam Driver, has been passing, not white, as many Jewish people are not white. And though the white passing ones may pass for white and may have white passing privilege, they've still been historically persecuted and are currently the target of anti Semitic violence. It was a really good scene. And of course,
Yeah.
the film closes with like Donald Trump and David Duke footage. David Duke being a main character in the movie. So if you had any false assumptions that racism wasn't a thing, there you go. No, like there's like tons of violence being shown at Black Lives Matter rallies, and David Duke directly referencing Donald Trump as being like a friend of his. And he was the Grand Wizard of the KKK for many years. He no longer is, but still has ties to them.
Oh, Donald Trump.
Yeah. No, because like, and I think that's actually why Spike Lee chose to have a comedy setup for the first little bit. It's almost like to lull the audience into like, oh, this isn't that bad, and then sort of have that moment where everything kind of drops and you realize, no, this is horrifying.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that they ended with that. I'll have to. Mia, yeah, no, I was actually, it is when I learned, because
Yeah.
I'm from Ohio, so like, and I'm from Cincinnati, so it's like a hop, skip, and a jump to Kentucky, just right across the river. And I actually have family from Kentucky. Like my grandma grew up in a house that was changed to a Kentucky Blue Mountainside. Like my family are hillbillies, so I, but like when I was little and I first heard like they call themselves Grand Wizards, I was like, wizards?
I know.
Really? Like even as a kid, and even now, like when you just said it, I'm just like, why wizards? Also, why you gotta ruin wizards for us?
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a choice, yeah, to refer to yourself as a wizard.
I don't
The
know. I
KKK.
am curious of like where they derived it, or if there's even an origin story about that.
There probably is. I'm just not interested enough to look up the KKK to really find out why they refer to themselves as wizards.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. And yes, Mia, I actually do like Kentucky. The Kentucky Horse Park is there. Lexington is like the horse capital of the world. There are so many beautiful horses there, and that's why I love it. But uh yeah. Everything else about Kentucky, conservative wise, is pretty shitty.
Yeah, I know we traveled through Kentucky when I was a kid on my way to my grandparents' cottage in Florida.
Mm.
Don't really remember much about it. I was really young.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty short when you're driving through the US in relation to other states because it's very long, but it's like when you're driving through it to Florida, it's not very wide.
Right.
Or I guess that would be short. No, whatever. You know what I mean.
They ruin everything. Everything. Yeah. I mean, and then I mean, I watch all of the Marvel movies, but I thought Avengers Infinity War was kind of like overrated. I don't know if you watch Marvel movies or not.
I do. I haven't watched any of the recent ones. I'm trying to think of what I'm like I can't sit through like a bunch of movies anymore. I like
Yeah.
go to the theater. So I'm like, I just haven't gotten into the habit.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I feel like the Avengers movies are always worse than this the single character movies because there's too much going on and there's so many characters that they can't really focus on one single thing at a time, right? So, for example, like I've seen all of the movies leading up to Infinity War, but at the same time, I felt like I was dropped into the middle of a scene and I had no idea what was happening. It was like, they cut off um did they cut something off in the middle and I don't understand what's going on? Like eventually it made sense to me, but I was like, this seems like a strange place to start a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, like just so many characters that I just felt like there wasn't enough time to develop anybody. And because you imagine like the first Avengers movies, you have so many characters, and then this is like so many more. So it's hard. Um, And by the end of it, I just felt like there was no real consequence because whatever happened, they're going to resolve in the next movie.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, did I watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie? I haven't seen it yet. No, but I really want to because
Yeah,
I love Miles Morales, so
I've heard such good things about that. The
yeah.
new animated movie.
I don't even know if it's playing near me. My city kind of sucks for like smaller movies. They tend to play big movies, and then I don't even know if this would be considered a big movie and if they would play it. But I'll see it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm genuinely thinking of trying to think of like movies. But I'm like, I don't really think I just mostly like rewatched kind of like old favorites in that.
That's okay. Yeah, I feel like I didn't watch as many movies this year that stuck out to me. Like I watched movies. They didn't have as much of an impact, so maybe I just wasn't watching the right ones. Because I did write down a few more, but it's also kind of like, eh. They were just okay. Or, I mean, I did watch Black Panther and I thought that was really good. That was one of the better Marvel movies.
Ooh, I didn't because I couldn't go watch that in theaters, but it's on Netflix, US Netflix anyway, right now. That's on my list to watch.
Mhm. But just in general, I feel like I haven't watched as much TV movies. I haven't read as many books as I usually do. I feel like a lot of my time is spent on my hobbies, like YouTube. I spend so much time like editing and filming and stuff.
Yeah, I've been much more just kind of not really consuming too much like new media.
Yeah.
I just, yeah. When I feel crappy, all I want to do is like my go tos are The Office and Modern Family, which both have their problematic things in their own right. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just
Oh,
like, I'm trying.
that's weird. I can't see you.
Oh no, where'd I go?
Like I can only see your avatar.
Oh, that's weird. Hold on. 1 second. Am I back?
Okay, you're back. You're back.
Okay, there we go. Yay. I don't know why. Okay,
That
now
was
it's,
weird.
I don't know what happened.
No.
Okay, iPad. Well, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I also watched some of the Marvel TV series, but I feel like I'm pissed that they canceled some of the best ones. Like they canceled Luke Cage, and I don't know if that's just because of the Disney streaming service that's supposed to be happening,
Mm-hmm.
because Disney owns Marvel now, and maybe that's they're like taking them off of Netflix and then putting them on Disney. Because like Luke Cage season 2 was slower than season 1, but it was also better. Like by the end of it, I thought that it was way better than season 1, and you could also see the future of where the show was headed.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it was just canceled out of nowhere was like, oh man.
Yeah, no, I do remember being. I'm still actually kind of salty about that. I haven't watched Luke Cage yet, but I'm just like, really?
I feel like Netflix has a really bad habit of canceling some of their more inclusive shows. Like they canceled Sense8,
Oh,
and
they.
that had amazing LGBTQ plus representation.
And I heard such good things about Sense8. Like people raved about it.
Yeah. And yeah, they brought it back for like one final episode, but also there's no way they could have wrapped things up in one episode, so I still haven't watched that.
Why? That's so annoying.
Yeah. Like I appreciate that Netflix greenlights a lot of things, but then they also cancel some of their best things to keep some of the shittier things around.
Right.
Yeah, that really bothers me. So yeah, they canceled Luke Cage, they canceled Daredevil, and they canceled Iron Fist. Iron Fist was like the one that sucked the most and deserved to be canceled. The other two was like, no, not so much.
Yeah, I didn't hear many people liked Iron Fist.
Yeah, well, I mean, number one,
What?
he is supposed to be Asian
Right.
and he's white, and just generally, it was bad. It was the writing was just horrible. The guy they got to play Danny Rand was horrible. He was not good.
No. This is like why? Why did you even like why?
um, so yeah, like Luke Cage was probably one of the best Marvel series they've had so far. And I like that Jessica Jones season 2, they actually had a woman direct each episode,
Oh, that's cool.
which is cool, yeah. Um, and I think they have The Punisher coming out with a new season towards the end of this month. Punisher was good too. But knowing Netflix will cancel that and bring in something new that's way worse.
Yay! You've got to love. Oh, that was a lot of pigment. Netflix.
It's a love hate because also here in Canada we don't get nearly as many movies and series as the rest of the world does,
Yeah,
which is odd. Like even it's so stupid, but even the Canadian shows air in the US and don't air on the Canadian.
that's so weird.
It is. It's very strange. Oh. And then I wanted to talk about The Handmaid's Tale because
Ew, I didn't watch it. I read it in my women in literature class in my freshman year of college, and with a black woman professor. So like, I had like a unique perspective on it, and I did really like it. But like, I still had it taught to me like in the context of like other black literature as well. Like I was introduced to Toni Morrison at the same time, who I absolutely fucking love.
yeah.
I haven't read any of her books, please do. They're heartbreaking, but they're super good. Uh,
Yeah, I haven't read the novel, but obviously one of the biggest criticisms is the fact that it seems to ignore the historical context of the fact that this has already happened in the real world.
right.
It's been happening to Black women and Indigenous women, and the majority of the show is white women and uh, Margaret Atwood, when called out for this, just didn't seem to do anything, say anything.
Yeah, no. She's honestly a classic white feminist. She's done yeah, she said some oh god. I can't even remember what like the one thing she said, and I was just like, what? That was just like kind of like completely like not. She said she didn't believe something, and it was
Yeah, because
something. You probably know what I'm talking about, but
I
she
just
was
feel
saying.
like one of the sorry, we keep interrupting each other.
I'm like I'm just stumbling over my own words. Please go ahead.
Okay, I feel like one of the biggest problems with this show is just the fact that so many people are left thinking that this is a fictional dystopia, you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, um it would be great to have some form of acknowledgement that this has happened and is no doubt still happening because I don't know if you've heard about here in Canada, we have Indigenous women who are giving birth in Alberta and Saskatchewan hospitals in particular, and their newborn babies are being held hostage away from them unless they agree to undergo sterilization.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. Like you said, it's happening right now. And then, like you said, also this Margaret Atwood acts like this has never happened before, especially in the history of the U.S., where we had chattel slavery. And enslaved Black women were literally used to start like modern gynecology, you know.
Yeah, there's actually a really excellent book on this called Medical Apartheid.
Mm.
Uh, what? Who is the author of that? Hang on a second, I have it written down. It's
Uh,
Harriet
yeah, Mia and
something.
Sophia were saying they prefer more escapist type content. And
Mhm.
that's how I feel too. That's why I like The Office and Modern Family. Just for when I'm honestly anxious or depressed or super fatigued with fibromyalgia pain, it's just like I don't have the capacity to do extra thinking, which is a privilege that I can second and like look at something to let myself escape.
Yeah, Medical Apartheid was Harriet Washington, if anyone was interested.
I will have to look that up.
Yeah. No, it's not an escapist read or anything like that, but
Ah,
and no, I understand some people prefer not to read or watch anything that has to do with current or past history, but also just good to acknowledge at least that it did happen.
yeah. Well, and then I even remember like when I read the book, there were like two kind of like accessory characters that Margaret wrote about that of Fred kind of like came in contact with, and they like worked like in the kitchen, but of Fred, was one, in like the higher status of the handmaids because she was being used to procreate. But I remember the ones like who were working in the kitchen. I remember her describing them as having like darker skin. So I'm like, I think it's like kind of fucked up too because even Margaret in the realm of like the handmaids, like in the book universe, she even relegated them to like roles of servants.
Well, it's kind of like that on the show too.
I didn't want to watch it because it'd be triggering for me too. But
Yeah.
like,
Oh, it's yeah. But no, immediately I can think of one of the women works in the kitchen and she's a black woman, yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I was like, I remember like that was something that stuck out to me. It's like to this day.
Sophia, yes, I have chronic illnesses. I'm actually going to be doing a video on Canadian disability and healthcare soon.
And yes, I have chronic migraines, and I was just recently diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which sounds like a bad thing, but I'm happy I have a diagnosis.
Yeah, no, I get it. And one of the shows I actually just finished watching was much lighter fare. It was called Three Below. It was an animated show and a spin-off of something called Troll Hunters. And it was about a group of aliens from another planet, but they also used this as a premise to turn them into human life forms. So one was a senior citizen, one was a white woman, and one was a Latin boy. And basically, they turn them into three life forms that all have their own individual struggles because of their identity, and use that to talk about um, different issues for, like senior citizens, feminist issues, and immigration. And it was just done like really well in the context of an animated show that was technically intended for kids, but was definitely not always a kids show. Uh, so like in the context of the boy whose name was Krell, he was really good at math, and every time he was good at math, one of the parents would point out like your kind shouldn't be good at math. It was like super racist. They would
Mhm.
address things like that. Just talking about having a coup in their home country and how that, like relates to modern day people having to flee from their country and find somewhere new to live. It was just done really well.
That's really cool. I saw
Yeah.
I saw the advertisement for it on Netflix, but I wasn't sure what it was.
No, I really liked it. Because, I mean, it's not often that a show about aliens could be about something deeper, but I thought they did a great job.
Oh, and in the chat, Mia and Sophia are talking about having diagnoses. That's
Yeah.
it is so nice to be told that your pain is valid, it's real, or it's
Instead of
pain, anxiety, depression here.
instead of being told, well, it's in your head and
And even if it is in your head, meaning like mental
yeah,
illness, like it's still real.
yeah, I just meant like it's in your head, as in you're imagining it, and
I
you're
know what
not.
you mean. I'm being silly. I don't. Whenever I say that, I'm like, but what if they think no?
Uh, I have only watched the first two episodes of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and I was actually just discussing the other day how I do have a few problems with it so far, and that I feel like they've been um, trying a little bit hard with the some of the themes they've been integrating into the show. I do agree that they have some good representation, but I want to wait until I finish it and then try and maybe get a review up.
Like I have watched the whole thing twice actually. um and I actually I do like it. But I definitely think there are some problematic parts. I but I will like 100% honest, it's one of the most compelling things I've watched in a while, and like
Mhm.
so much so that I watched it twice because I
Yeah.
want to like get more out of it and like read more into the show. Um and like I said, I don't want to spoil it for you, but after you finish, I'll be interested to see your review, or like let me know when you finish because I will definitely be like, did this thing piss you off as much as it did me? Because they're Mia. I'm cracking up. Yeah, I could use less Harvey and less making out.
Right.
That would I wouldn't be mad about that. Ooh, and I have to clear out my dryer really quick. So BRB.
Okay.
I'll be like 2 seconds. I'm sorry. Like dryer is in like laundry machine.
That's no problem. Okay. Well, while she's gone, I have been reading this. Obviously, I have not finished it yet. I finished the first section and then like one chapter after that. I feel like everybody's reading this book right now, so and but it's amazing so far. I just wanted to say that it's amazing so far, and if you aren't reading it, you probably should be because Michelle Obama is amazing. Um, yeah, I really neglected my reading this past year, and I'm trying to get back into it. So that is my first book of the year. Technically, I started reading it last year. Um, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to read more this year, but I did read a few books last year. And you're back.
I am back.
Yeah, I was just telling them that I started reading this at the end of 2018 and I'm currently reading it now, Michelle Obama's book. Yeah.
So good. My lights are too bright. Zoe, knock it off, please. That would be the chihuahua in my house.
I think I have a Goodreads account, but I don't really use it. I kind of just go based on recommendations I see on people I follow on Instagram. And I download a lot of samples onto my Kindle app on my phone. And whatever I feel like reading, I read. But yeah, I slacked on my reading last year. I only read like 3 or 4 full books, which I usually read more than that. But I just didn't get around to it. One of the books I read that I really pissed me off was called The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. Is it familiar? You look like you've.
I feel like I've heard of the title, but I'm like, go on ahead. I'm like,
Yeah, so I mean, it took me a long time to make it like 70 or 80% of the way through the book, at which point I just kind of like stopped. So I actually didn't even read the whole thing. I've made it close, but it was basically about this woman is kidnapped by a man. I don't even remember their character names at this point. I remember the basic plot. She's kidnapped by a man, and he works for another man. He's supposed to bring her to him. Instead, he just runs off with her to like this isolated cabin, and of course, they fall in love. Because why wouldn't you fall in love with the guy who kidnapped you?
it's funny. I think there's something called Stockholm
Stockholm
syndrome.
syndrome?
That's really messed up to romanticize that kind of thing. Like, why?
Yeah. And like the whole thing, it kind of reminded me of Gone Girl because it was flipping between past and present and also different people's first person perspective narrative.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, so here it is before she was taken, and this is the kidnapper's perspective. Here it is after she was taken, and it's her mother's perspective, and just kept going all over the place, and it was just really bad. Mia's like, I hate it except with bodice ripper books about hot Highlanders, Vikings, Scotsmen. I am horrible.
I mean, same. I would like a Scottish man to kidnap me and rip off my bodice. Thank you.
I don't wear a bodice, but if I did,
I have a few in my closet. I'm not wearing one currently.
yeah, definitely a
Oh,
problematic trope. I mean,
yeah. Pop culture detective, Sophia mentioned. That is.
yeah, I've never heard of him, but I'd like to see somebody breaking down these problematic tropes because, like, seriously, why does anybody think it's a good idea? And this was a female author. Why would she think it's a good idea to have a main character fall in love with her kidnapper?
I don't know. That's so weird.
At least they have the excuses of being rough and uncouth and like in the 1500s. It's like those novels that you would see, and it was always the same guy on the cover. I forget his name. It was like Fabio or whatever. That long blonde haired guy who would do romance novel covers.
My grandma has like an epic collection of smut novels.
I like your grandma.
It's I love it. The covers, like I just remember like growing up seeing those covers with Fabio with his long flowing hair and like, the like of the open white shirt
Right?
like down to the belly button almost.
I just remember being like 14 years old, and I was in this hospital program. I was an inpatient there, and all of the girls would go to the bookshelf in the school area, and we'd try to find the smuttiest novels we could and like look up certain passages and be like, "Did you see this one?"
I love it. Abduction as romance.
Thanks, Mom, for offering me literature material to experience my sexual awakening at 14.
Exactly. I mean, what's wrong with that?
That's what fan fiction was for when I was a kid.
Truth.
It's
Although,
like
like, I
when
go
you're
back like watch like Disney movies and stuff. Like Meg from Hercules. I was like, she totally sexually awakened me. Like Megarosa, babe.
I haven't watched Hercules in so long. That's one of the movies I only watched once when I was a kid.
Oh, it's so good.
I feel like every other Disney movie I've seen multiple times. I haven't seen that one really. Lime content ahead. Yes, exactly. I was just about to say, like, warning for lemon content.
Yeah.
That's how you knew it was the hardcore stuff.
Okay. Because I forgot what does that mean? What is it like
It basically means like it's
stand for?
NC-17 sex.
Okay. Does it
Yeah.
like but why do they call it lemon? Just
I
like
don't know.
be-
I just remember that was the thing.
yeah.
Boy slash no flames. Yeah. Because I know like fanfiction.net didn't have an NC-17 rating, I don't think.
I don't think so.
So people were just writing lemon and lime instead of having the rating. But now they have archive of our own, and you can like
Okay.
tag it any number of things you want. And limes is like going second base and maybe a bit of rubbing against each other. I don't know. I always wondered if maybe like lemon was for guys and lime was for girls.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a thing or if it was for both genders. Because
The,
I know like in Japan they have yaoi for boy sex and yuri is for girl sex. So
yeah.
I don't know if lemon and lime was distinct in that way or not. Fanfic.net. Oh my god, yes, gets war flashback. Yeah, when you were a kid trying to navigate fan fiction, it was hard. You're like, what is this? Do I read this? Do I not read this?
Oh, yeah. Like Wattpad was the Wild West for me, man. I was like, what? This? What? And like I said, I grew up in the Bible Belt of Ohio, so I know nothing.
Yeah, I'm far removed from that, luckily, so. Oh, lemon, lime, citrus were degrees of how descriptive it was and how much there was.
Mm.
And Sophia says the origin of Archive of Our Own was a story of anti-misogyny. Yes, I did frequent Quizilla when I was younger. That was around my high school days, yeah. Just taking different quizzes and stuff.
I don't know if I did that fan fiction make your own story.
No, I just knew Quizilla was like for taking different quizzes. DeviantArt, yeah.
Yes, I still have my account.
You're stuck in a house with an angel, demon, vampire, werewolf. Who will you choose? Well, now basically you have those anime dating adventure story things that you
Oh
can
yeah.
download.
Yeah, Mia, I haven't updated mine either in the longest time. I would sometimes put cosplay stuff up there, and I think there's like a few crappy art things up there. Like,
I don't even know what my old DeviantArt was. I know I had one, but
I followed some people. I know a lot of people left, and I did follow some people like that I used to follow on DeviantArt. I like follow them on like Instagram and stuff now.
yeah. I should upload some of my drawings onto Instagram. I am not an original artwork person so much, but I do like to draw like anime characters and whatnot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you aren't sometimes a person isn't always creative in their own mind, but you can still draw other things, and it's like,
Yeah,
I'm talented that way.
no, I'm like, I dabbled.
Okay, I will.
Digital artwork evades me. That's something I'm working on.
I have a Twitter that I created just for the sole sake of blasting John McClane. And I haven't been on there since. Oh wait, no. I think I went on there when people were like trashing Jackie Ina. Those are the only two times I've been on there.
And less furry porn. Yeah, I'm not on Twitter a lot. It overwhelms me. I don't.
Yeah, I feel more safe on Instagram in terms of the content I'd be able to control than on Twitter. Twitter seems even more overrun by trolls than Instagram.
Mm,
That's just my perspective from what I've seen. But then again, I don't have a lot of experience with Twitter, but I've just seen a lot of shit from other people, and I don't
that
know.
is absolute facts, Sophia.
Old Tumblr. Tumblr is horrible now, yeah. I mean, they're deleting all the wrong things.
And still leaving up neo Nazis.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Tumblr, I don't know, man. You want to take away the nudity, but you're gonna leave up um, all the white supremacy accounts. That's prioritizing the wrong shit. I
Yeah,
had a Tumblr and it was okay, but I just kind of, I don't know. I didn't take to it, I guess.
yeah. I'm like, I deleted the app from my phone stuff. I don't think I deleted my actual account, but I'm like, it just pisses me off that they're really punishing sex workers with this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you and I talked a bit about this the other day.
yeah, that was like the sticking point for me, and it's just like they're getting attacked on all platforms,
Yeah.
including now Tumblr. I have
Yeah,
not.
Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, basically every social media platform. And then there's black people being harassed on every platform, having to be targeted for hate speech and racial violence, and that's going unchecked. And then again, the white supremacist accounts, they just stay there unreported, or if you report them, they don't take them down. Like the other day with that account posting blackface and being reported over and over and over again, and nobody was doing anything about it.
Yeah, no, not cat art. I've been reporting him for a year. Yeah, like that wasn't the first. That photo that you posted resurfaces every once in a while.
That's
He
what I've been
reported
told.
a
Yeah.
ton, and nothing ever happens.
That's what I've heard. Like I didn't this was my first time seeing it, but I haven't been on Instagram as long as some other people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you can go on reporting one photo for a year and nothing happens, no, there's something way wrong. Not cat art on Instagram has been reposting the same blackface photo and video for over a year and is not being banned. The photo and the video are not being taken down.
Yeah, and like does it. He literally does it just for shock value. He's a Russian makeup artist, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, he's super yikes. It's ridiculous.
And
And then
and
he
he posted
a photo.
just the other day a photo. It was captioned racism, and it was him and a black model.
And just completely tokenizing her.
Yeah, like me, I'm obviously not racist. I have a black friend.
So yeah, he. I wish Instagram would stop attacking trans people and black trans people, and maybe take care of pieces of trash like that.
Yeah. And you have all these people in his comments section telling him, take it down, it's racist, and he either just goes on to attack them or just doesn't respond. And other people who like him attack these people for him. Like I even said to one of the people in the comments, why are you defending him? You have no obligation to him.
And why would you want to defend that kind of behavior anyway? It's
No,
like
I
in
don't.
no context is what he did okay. And continues to like I said, do that shock value where he keeps throwing it back up. And I'm sure there are people who don't care and who are racist and follow him because of it, which is the
Yeah.
thing. Just like I'm sure some anti-vaxxers and anti-Semitic people are like found out about Kat Von D and they're going to support a brand. Like,
I actually saw an account one time, like months back on Instagram. They were selling anti-vaccine um, paraphernalia on Etsy and promoting anti-vaccination but you can't report that really because what do you report it for? I don't even know what you would report that for.
yeah. And then, like Mia was saying,
Yeah, it's not in violation.
look, it doesn't violate our community standards. That message, seeing that always makes me want to drive off the
Yeah.
cliff.
I've reported this guy for racism, like under the hate speech and whatever, and harassment, and bullying. And every time I report him for something different, it comes back and it says not in violation.
It's just like,
Reported as spam, not in violation. No.
like Mia said, how? How? It's like, is your filter system so bad? Like, who do you have reviewing these
I
things?
don't even know if they have genuine people or if it's just bots.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Um, it was so weird. And the ridiculous thing is, like, Instagram, I reposted, um, like a Vogue. Vogue did their, like, music video, and had a whole bunch of models and everything to Carly Simon's, You're So Vain. I don't know if you saw that. It happened to, like, I think
Oh, didn't see it.
it was more like back in the summer. But I reposted the video like with full credits tagging like all the models, dancers, like everything.
Yeah.
And then like Instagram, I got a message from them, and or not like a message, but like a notification that it was like they took down my video because it violated standards or whatever. And I was able to dispute it, and it's back up on my wall now. But it's like you take down that bullshit on my page where I'm reposting a video with credits with fair use per FTC guidelines, and you're still trying to take down this video, but you won't go after people who are being openly racist, vile, and spitting hatred to accounts like sassy lattes or ethnically Jewish or
Yeah.
any any activist account where someone has a marginalized identity. It's just like that's your priority, not protecting people on your site.
No, it's like because then it makes you wonder if it is people reviewing every report.
Oh yeah, and then Sophia, she made they constantly remove LGBTQ
Yeah.
stuff.
So if it's people doing the reporting system behind the reporting system, then the people are heavily biased and bigoted. And
Yeah,
if it's bots, then they need to do something about the bots. Either way, it's messed up.
absolutely.
Because that would mean that the people have put some sort of filter system on the bots that's targeting certain things over others. And either way, it's a person behind that.
Right. I don't know. It's messed up. And then it's the Illuminati, maybe.
Yeah,
Like, really, though, I don't know how the systems work. And I'm sure they won't reveal it either, because then it would make them culpable for.
yeah. No, I can't see that they would reveal any of the behind the scenes stuff like that.
Yay.
Yeah, Illuminati, gonna call it. Makes sense.
It might as well be, because they won't tell us.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. And it's just like, what do you do to like going beyond creating your own platform, you know?
yeah, I don't know, man. And like, this is the other thing too. I've even noticed, like, I make a makeup post, I get a certain amount of likes, I deviate from that, and I figure one of three things happens. One, Instagram is not showing it to people. Two, people are seeing it and they don't care. And or three, people are seeing it and they don't feel like it's okay to like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, say when I posted about Jasmine Barnes the other day, the little girl who was shot and killed, um, barely anybody responded to this. Is that Instagram or is that people? And either
Yeah.
way, I have to be worried about this because the fact that over 100 people could like a photo of my eye and start commenting all of this stuff, and then you see a photo of a little girl who's been killed and nothing. Radio silence.
Yeah, because they
It's
will. I have
troubling.
noticed that they'll ding posts, like YouTube will, um, where they'll like not show it to as many people, or and when I say ding on YouTube, they will demonetize it. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and the sequential timeline definitely messes things up too.
Yeah, and yeah, like I get that some people don't know how to reply, but it's also like I feel like I reach a certain amount of people with all of the makeup posts. And I feel like this way too with every other account I see.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a certain amount of content, or a certain kind of content, and then Instagram just decides to shut that down as soon as you post about anything other than that. Like even in the activist spaces that I follow, and I am not an activist, but people I follow, they say that Instagram has been like shadow banning me, hasn't been showing posts to followers, and it's because of the content that they've been posting, and that's really troubling.
Absolutely. Not gonna lie, my body is starting to get really tired. Guys.
Yeah, that's okay. I've had my legs like straight down in front of me underneath my laptop desk for a while, and I usually like need to bend them and stuff. So if you wanted to, we could wrap it up.
So I'm like, I was just reading the chat a little. This was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I wish Kalina could have been here. I don't know what happened, but
I know. I don't know if she's in the chat anymore, but if you are still here, Kalina, we love you.
yeah, we love you, Kalina. Hopefully we can fix this so next time we stream you can be on. For real and not just in the chat.
And hopefully I'm like 2 hours, okay.
Yeah, this
Back.
was longer than what I thought we would end up doing. And we actually had some very good conversation, not just stuff that I had jotted down on a list about, like I had a list of movies and books and games and stuff. We had good tangents off of each thing. So, yeah.
I love a good tangent. Yeah, it really did not feel like 2 hours. Like all of a sudden, like I just felt like my body start getting that like heavy, sleepy, like you need a nap soon. Like
Yeah. I mean, that's why I decided to stream from my bed in case I got uncomfy, so
yeah, I'm like I'm in my makeup chair, which is very comfortable
that's good.
because we're having
Having tangent fun. Yeah.
exactly. When you said that, I'm like I thought of like tangents, like in math.
Yeah.
I'm like I don't know why my brain went to a tangent function, but okay. I obviously need to go nap or something.
Okay.
Yeah, my brain's starting to fart.
Okay. Well, thank all of you for being here with us. We appreciate it. No maths allowed here.
I'm
Nope.
sorry.
And now that we know that the live stream capabilities work on YouTube and they're not disallowing it for people under a certain subscription amount, I can do this again in the future. So I
Yes.
was worried. Some articles were saying it was only allowed for like people over 1,000 subscribers, and I was like, oh no, really?
Yeah, I was like super hoping that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad you had fun.
It was so fun to talk to you in real time, Mia.
Yes.
And
I'm
so,
glad I'm glad you were able to make it and you stayed up late enough to watch us. That was very nice.
yeah, now you probably need to go pass out. All right. I,
Okay.
like, I actually don't know how to hop off. Okay, I see it now. All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye everyone.